Greetings everyone, Zannrath here, and welcome back to more Hearthstone. Let's continue taking on the heroic encounters of the Hidden Laboratory. And we're going to go ahead and face off against Maloriak, not Maloriak, which I think I called him in the normal mode. And his hero power is the same, but he's going to be buffing his minions 2-2. Alright, that's going to be great. We're going to go ahead and take him on with the This Drink Tastes Funny Warlock deck. And I call it that because in the WoW raid, I remember that he throws like random vials into this like cauldron. So, yeah. Okay. So, Shadowflame is pretty nice to have, but I don't know if I can afford holding on to it. I might just go ahead and throw it back for now. I'm going to hold on to the egg though, so I can have a turn 2 play. Or just grab some more turn 2 plays, that's fine I suppose. Let's see if I can draw into a 1 though. And not quite. Okay, so we're going to be a little behind, but I think it should be okay. So he has a 1-drop. I'm going to go ahead and throw this out so he can trade into it. I don't want to sacrifice the 4-4 egg because it has a pretty good amount of health. He has a 3. What does he have? He has a ghoul. Okay. He's going to go face. Sure. Let's see. I guess I'll go for the gang boss. Just so next turn I can play 2 things. And I think I'll go ahead and trade into the... Do I think he has more spells, or do you think he's going to get more minions on the board? I mean, this is saving myself 1 damage right now, but... Or this is, but... you know what, let's go ahead and do that. 3 health is a little bit easier to deal with than 4. And now he's going to swap that. Or is he going to swap me? He's going to swap me. Okay. He doesn't go for the trade. Interesting. Or the free trade here. Well, we're kind of in a bad spot. So we're going to drop all these things and hit face. And see what he does. So probably going to go 10 for face. He's got a scientist. Shadowflame would be pretty nice right now. Or if he plays another minion, I can MC tech. And he doesn't, of course. Well, let's see. Let's go ahead and sack this. And we can silence that. Maybe I should play the ghoul before I traded. That was a mistake. But, I mean, it would have had... I think I killed one... No, I silenced... Yeah, I killed the Nerubian. Whatever it's called. Weblord? Right, Weblord, yeah. Because who uses that card? Let's see. That's gonna happen. And then I think it's a 4-3, is it? Yep. Let's go ahead and sack this guy. And that guy. Really low on health, but I don't really want to play any of these cards. So I might, cause, I mean, I really want the MC tech. But is he really going to be playing anything huge? Or 4 cards next turn? Probably not, so I might have to do that for tempo. Save the health. If I can... he's going to get that guy. So it's going to get 5-5. Okay. Double overwhelming. Let's go ahead and tap now, I think I have to. Do I just overwhelming? I guess this guy? Or no, that guy. To save kind of presence on the board, I think I will. And next turn I can KT. And maybe get something going. Just gonna faceless this guy. I think that's fine. Because then I can KT and then just sack stuff. Perfect, that's fine. Oh wait, what happened here? Oh, wait, he copied this. Ugh. That's ugly. By KT, I sack that. This goat grows. Okay, I think that's fine. So, sack this. This grows, I can kill that. And there's that. So he already double faceless, so he can't get a KT himself. So I think I might be okay. Let's see. How can I handle this? I can silence this in overwhelming. By overwhelming, I have, let's say 7/7, hit that. this grows and I can kill that. I can silence this and just hit it with my KT. So he denies him the secret. I think I might do that. So this is going to be 5/5. This is going to be 7. If I do it on this guy, he would be 5. Right? He would be 5. That go to 6. That wouldn't die. Well, I can get 2 things to die this turn. So that would go to 5. So that's 1 away if I do it on this guy, right? If I do it on this guy, sack him into that, silence this, sack that, or hit that, that's 2, that goes to 5, so I think I have to do it this way. And then that goes there, do this. Might as well drop that guy and hit him there. This leaves him vulnerable to an implosion, but I mean, okay. Does he have an implosion to follow? Or like second one? Oh, why did he do it in that order? That's interesting. Okay, I think so he's out of cards now, as long as nothing crazy happens. Okay, so we got the Shadowflame in case something crazy happens. So we'll go here. I guess we might as well kill off everything to try to get this as big as we can. Do we even need to do that? Not really, so might as well. I think, I don't know, trying to buff this guy up instead of just getting the damage in right now, probably not worth it, so let's go ahead and just push the face. So we got the implosion on my KT probably. Yep. And let's see how much I can do here. I do have the Shadowflame in case I need, but I think that's lethal, right? 7, 15. Yep, we're good. Alright. There you go. Tap first. How can we do this in the most BM way possible? Can throw that out there. Shadowflame, so we'll Shadowflame this guy. And boom. Okay, there we go. That worked out. Fortunately. Alright. Yeah. I appreciate I'd appreciate that, Nefarian. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the deck. Here it is. This drink tastes funny. So, obviously, his swap thing is the main mechanic to play around, and he very easily can get a lot of minions on the board because he has that implosion. He gets the 2/2 buff, so his minions are, I guess, more resilient in a sense because well, they get the buff, right? But I think almost all of his minions, with a couple exceptions, will have 3 or 4 health after the buff. Only things I can think of are Ooze, which will become a 4/5, Belcher, Faceless, and the Drakonid Crusher or whatever. But for the most part, everything will have either 3 or 4. So I mean, that's about maybe half his minions already there. But yeah, so about half his minions will have 3, 4. 3 or 4 health. So a lot of these cards you see, well, for one, they're very vulnerable to, what do you call it, like Drain Life or Implosion, just because they have the 1 attack, and when they get swapped, you know, or 1 or 2 attack, and then when they get swapped, it's basically a free kill with a removal. But basically, you want to play board control and just control the board as much as you can. If things get out of control, you have Shadowflame kind of bail you out. I don't think Mind Control Tech got anything in that game. I don't think he ever had more than... Did he have more than 4 million minions out at a time? I don't remember. But, yeah, anyways, let's go down the deck. Power Overwhelming, obviously, just for trading. Hopefully, you'd be able, like, you know, it's more for the late game, the mid to late game, when he does play something like Faceless, like the Drakonid Crusher, which became an 11/11, which is crazy. Well, that's only because it got the buff from me being less than 15 health. But still, there really isn't anything you can have on in this deck that deals with that, at least on its own, 1-for-1, right? You can probably silence it to a 6/6 and then trade something into it, or two things into it, but really you're going to have to be, that's basically the biggest obstacle. Well, that's the late game obstacle, right? So Power Overwhelming helps you trade into bigger things. Voidwalker, ideally you want to get this turn 1 so he doesn't develop as much tempo in the early rounds, and obviously I think this can deal with any of his 2-drop, or any of his 1 or 2 drops, except for Ooze, so, well, what else does he have then? Where he has the Mad Scientist. Oh, that doesn't, yeah, so that's 4. So this is basically, you have to have this on 1 to deal with, like, his 1-drop, right? Either a Mana Worm or a Voidwalker. Because it trades, this is going to become his thing is going to become a 5/3. Your thing is going to become a 3/1, so it's a good trade, right? Owls, as well as the Spellbreakers. Mainly, you want to save it for his Mad Scientist, because I think he only runs Duplicate and Counterspell, and you really don't want to get Counterspelled when you have to, like, Shadowflame, but you don't have any other spells in your hand. Right, because it's very sparse on spells. That's what they're there for. The Weblord, the battlecry thing doesn't do anything. It's mainly for the 4 attack, right? Because like I said, most of his creatures, at least early on, are only going to have 3 or 4 health. Unfortunately, if you get like an Ooze or something, then you're kind of out of luck. But it's a 2 mana card with 4 attacks, so hopefully it'll help you fight again for the early board control. Neurian Egg, obviously again for the 4 health and the 4 attack, so it's another 4 attack creature for the early game, but it's also a little beefy, so it actually can survive against things like, his imps, I suppose. Could potentially go 2-for-1, and that's kind of what it's there for. Otherwise, it's going to go 1-for-1, and it's, yeah. Sun Fury. 3 attack, again, after the swap. Really there more for the taunts, try to save yourself a little bit. Shadowbolt. Shadowbolt over Dark Bomb, just because of that 1 extra damage could be important for the 1 extra mana. It's, not that big of a deal, I suppose. Flesh-Eating Ghoul. You really want to ideally use this when you have, like, a decent-ish board. At least, like, maybe 1 minion for every minion he has, and you can start trading. And this is kind of like another, it's not as good of a way to deal with his bigger health minions, because it relies on this staying alive, as well as you, like, trading stuff to buff it up. But this kind of is another potential out if he does get, like, a Drakonid Crusher out or something like that. Infantry, Nomogram Infantry, again, 4 attack, with charge, so it's actually kind of nice. It's basically like a Shadow Bolt, right? Except it doesn't go through taunts. Gang Boss, again, 3 mana for a 4 attack, after the swap. His the things you get, the 1/1 imps, could be nice just to get, have something on the board, have something else on the board for you to maybe, like, Power Overwhelm, or maybe you just need 1 extra damage. Like I said, like, maybe you trade this into an Ooze and then you have the 1 to deal with it afterwards. Mind Control Tech, again, like I said, I don't think I got any MC tech action in that fight, but it's there for when things kind of get crazy. And it'd be nice if you can grab like a 4/5 or something like that, or you can grab one of his, because they're all buffed up, right? So theoretically, it's gonna be pretty good because you can take one of his minions and it should trade with one of his other minions. Shadowflame, obviously you have to have this, like, it's 2 cards, right? 1 card, 1 spell, the spell, and then 1 minion to hopefully clear his board. So this is really kind of like in those situations, like, you can use this early on to try to start developing that board, right? So you don't have to lose your entire board, and then he can just, like, by trading, and you can start developing something because he's going to be able to flood the board eventually. And also late game for, well, that's basically it. You really want to use it to get board presence, or at least be able to start developing it, right? Because maybe you have 1 or 2, you have 2 minions on the field. He has like 3 or 4. You can just Shadowflame one of them. Hopefully it'll clear everything, and you can start, developing your board before he, play another minion or 2 before he drops like 2 or 3 or 4 minions, and, start trading. So that's basically what it's there for. I threw in the Tall Strider because I wanted a little bit more like later game cards, and the 4 attack. I chose like instead of going for like a Yeti, which you can get like a 5 attack and 4 health. I went with the 4/5 because I felt like 4 is good enough in most cases. Again, Ooze would be a 4/5 after a swap and buff, and obviously, as bigger cards, you wouldn't be able to deal with it. But this at least goes a little bit better for two for oneing. I guess maybe Yeti is actually also not too bad because 4 health. Actually, no. This deals with like his Mad Scientist a little bit better because the 4/4. So this deals with his 4 health or 4 attack minions a little bit better than like a Yeti would. So that's kind of why I chose this over the Yeti. Spellbreaker, obviously more silences. Can be helpful, especially for the Draconoids if you're or Draconids if you're under 15% or 15 health. It can get rid of 5/5 on them. His buff from his passive hero power plus the battlecry effect or whatever. But again, mostly for the Mad Scientist because you don't want to give him secrets. Duplicates, it's kind of not great, but still okay if you can get on a kind of like a smaller minion, like a 1-drop or something where you can easily deal with the 3 health. But the counterspells can be really devastating if you need to, drop a Shadowflame or something, and you just can't get around his counterspell. Kel'Thuzad obviously was probably the MVP. Like, if you can last long enough and then drop this with at least some board presence while clearing his board, right? Then you more or less will start. The game basically swings in your favor, and that's basically all it's there for. If you can get there. Molten, I would probably put 2 in here if I had a second one, but again, you're probably going to get really low on health just because his minions are going to be so big for such a cheap cost because they're cheap cards, but they get buffed. So you're going to lose health pretty easily. So this is just a good card to have, I suppose. And that's basically it. You have to get a little lucky in terms of the order of the draws you get, but for the most part, it's just, again, playing for board until you can actually clear his board and start developing your own, whether that's through Shadowflames, Mind Controls, or like Kel'Thuzad or something like that. And might take a couple of tries, I think it only took me a couple of tries. This iteration of this deck, it was my first try and got a little bit lucky, as you saw with the KT. But yeah, not too bad in the end. Just have a little bit of perseverance, I suppose. And next is Atramides. So until then, thank you for watching. Bye.